Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So within today's video, we are going to be talking about the 3 things that we have learned from this game between FC Barcelona and Real Madrid. Every time Barcelona do play games like this, I think that many of us can see many mistakes that we have done that I think that we can learn from. And there's probably things that we have done within this game that we have tested for the first time that we should continue to work with. And it's very important. Like, yes, I do know that we have lost in this game 3-1, but there's still a very long season ahead of us. And so it should be a very interesting video. But before we go into this video, I do want to speak about our sponsor for today, and that is the OneFootball app. If you guys want to find out how I do build these videos, where I do get the stats when it comes to Real Madrid versus FC Barcelona, for example, I do get this information from the OneFootball app. If you do want to download the OneFootball app, you can so by clicking on the link down below. It is clickable. It'll take you straight to the app store. You can download the OneFootball app, set exactly who and what you do want to follow, and then you'll be notified immediately and live on your phone regarding, again, your favorite team or your favorite player, whether that's Bayern Munich, Manchester City, Real Madrid, Barcelona. The OneFootball has it all. But now let's go back into this video and let's talk about point number 1 on what we have learned, and that is going to be that Kounde should be starting in every game and play for the full 90 minutes. This is a player that Barcelona do need. I felt like when Kounde did return in that match against Real Madrid, I just felt like that defensive line looked much more secured. And I feel like if this player never entered this game, like if he was still injured, Real Madrid probably would have found it much easier to find those goals going through FC Barcelona. Because we have to remember, everything that Real Madrid were trying to do, they wanted to go through Eric Garcia because they knew that our weakness in that defensive line was through Eric Garcia. And sometimes when Real Madrid did not see that available as an option to go through Eric Garcia, they sometimes found themselves going against Kounde, and Kounde never allowed those players to go through him. Like, it literally never worked. When it came to players like Vinicius or Valverde trying to go through Kounde, Kounde always had those two players marked and completely. Kounde always followed. So we look at his stats against Real Madrid. He has completed the most passes with a total of 77, had 8 recoveries, had a 93% pass accuracy, and he had the most passes into the final third against Real Madrid with a total of 18. So what amazes me the most about a performance like this is the fact that Kounde has done this after just returning from injury. Can you imagine how this player could be when he's actually partnered with a real center back like Ronald Araujo and also being 110% healthy physically and mentally? He would be a monster of a center back. Now, I know that this player does prefer to play as a center back, but Xavi Hernandez does use him as a right back. It really does not matter because in the end, Kounde does deliver in both roles. There really is no difference or drop of a performance when you move Kounde around. He can play in both positions, and so this is a player that is highly valued by Xavi Hernandez, and you can see that clearly every time he does play. Let's move on towards point number 2, and that is going to be Ansu Fati being the best goal scorer for FC Barcelona besides Lewandowski, because that is what Ansu Fati is. He is our best goal scorer. If you take Lewandowski out of the picture, there is no other player like him right now in this team that can play the way he does play. Like, his ability to move the ball into space and to continue to have the ball, continue to have possession, and then to score those goals, it is phenomenal. Like, I do not believe that Ansu Fati is a player that can play like Sané or Messi, players who can play with very close control with the ball and dribbling through players with their ball stuck to the feet. Ansu Fati is more of a player that can move the ball into space and run to that space. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Ansu Fati is still very lethal. He is still very good at what he does. Not every player has to be great when it comes to having close control with the ball and dribbling through players. As a matter of fact, like we have explained in the previous video, one of the reasons on why Barcelona scored that first goal, it is because of Ansu Fati. Ansu Fati has such a great ability on taking on players and being very composed. We saw him very composed when Valverde tried to tackle Ansu Fati on that left flank of Barcelona's, but he did not succeed. Ansu just jumped over that player, ran to that space, had the ball again, and made that cross to Lewandowski. And then again, we all know what happened from there. Lewandowski passes the ball to Ferran Torres, and Ferran Torres scores the first goal. But the thing that I find most important about this play is the fact that Ansu Fati was very composed in a play like this. We talked about this before. We have talked about so many times how Ansu Fati does not look as composed, as strong every time he does make those runs. Like, he gives up so easily. But until this game that we did see, now we're starting to see that Ansu Fati is regaining his confidence back, and he is also looking for those shots outside the box. He's very quick in making his decisions, and so I think that what we are seeing here is the start of a comeback of the prime Ansu Fati that we do want to see. I'm not saying that we are seeing the Ansu Fati that we did see a few months ago and that he is 110% healthy mentally, and physically. I think that we're starting to see the start of his comeback. We even see him with great work ethic. Like, for example, we see him track back, trying to defend and trying to dispossess the ball from Valverde on the 83rd minute. And the fact that Ansu Fati was tracking back this deep, right? Like we can see in this picture, that is very important because it's showing you that yes, Ansu is confident. Ansu wants to do everything on that left side. And so what this player is doing here is this is going to like disrupt the duo between Dembele and Rafinha to be with a player like Lewandowski in that front three. I think that with Ansu Fati slowly but surely getting better and better game after game, only one is going to be starting between Dembele and Rafinha, because if you have Dembele 100% and Rafinha 100% on that left side, they're still not better than Ansu Fati when Ansu Fati is at 95% or 90% on the left side. Ansu Fati is just simply better and understands what he should be doing on that side. And I think that he will carry this type of performance and this type of form towards Villarreal, which will be happening on Thursday. And so I think that most likely we're either going to be seeing two different front threes. Xavi Hernandez is either going to go for Ansu, Lewandowski, and Dembele, or Ansu, Lewandowski, and Rafinha. So now let's head towards point number 3, which I think is the most important point out of all of these things that we have talked about so far. And that is Barcelona as a collective, they need to realize the opportunities that they have on the field. And so let's talk about that, right? Because one of the things that really bothered me the most about this game is the fact that the first team that we did see get assembled, right, to the starting 11, I'm not talking about the team that was assembled in the last 15 minutes, but the first team that we did see, there were so many chances that these players saw that could have easily been converted into a goal. There were so many ways, there were so many different opportunities like Dembele and Rafinha running into those spaces that were not taken advantage of. Like, they did not even bother trying to pass it towards Dembele and Rafinha when they were making those runs on the wings. Like, for example, let's talk about these frames here. You can see just how open Real Madrid is when it came to marking our front three. Our front three was so open. Real Madrid were so spaced out. They did not even realize that Dembele was making that run. But another player that did not realize that Dembele was making that run, even though he was calling for it, yelling for it, was Frenkie de Jong. I'm not saying that Frenkie de Jong had a bad performance. It's just that as a collective, many of these midfielders, right, did not see these type of runs. This is just an example. This is something, right, that Barcelona had in that 4-0 win against Real Madrid a few months ago, is the fact that they saw opportunities like this. They saw that open space, that open player, like what we see here with Dembele. But I have no idea why we did not apply the exact same thing within this game when the chance was so clear here. Like, you and me can't see this, and I think that many of us can agree that we saw moments like this throughout the full course of the first 80 minutes of this match. So I don't know if Frenkie was trying to play it safe, or like he was not aware that Dembele was making that run, which would be very unprofessional, right? Or maybe he did see that, but he thought that it was offside. But looking at this frame here, looking at all of these frames and looking at the video, many of us could say that this is a green light. Like, this is a clear pass to execute. And I think that what this is also telling us, right, just looking at how open all of these players are in general and how this defensive line is shaped, is showing us that Real Madrid does not really know how to defend. Like, they're very poor when it comes to like marking every individual player and maintaining our front three. They were very poor at that. The only reason why Barcelona were unable to find those opportunities is it is because Barcelona were also poor when it came to their attacking and moving forward, being very unaware of what's actually going on the field. And so I think that this is going to come down to Xavi Hernandez needing to make these midfielders more attentive and more direct when the opportunity is actually there. I'm not saying to be direct 110% of the time through the 90 minutes, but when the opportunity is there, when the chance is so clear, we have to take advantage of that. Because again, Real Madrid's shape defensively, it is horrible. If this was like a on-form Manchester City going up against this version of Real Madrid and what they did on the field, this could have easily been converted into a goal. If this was Bayern Munich, they probably would have killed Real Madrid if they performed like this. But again, this was Barcelona, a Barcelona that is still building, a Barcelona that's still trying to understand what they need to do in certain sequences. And so we look at the next example, and you can see here that Pedri receives the ball. Again, you look at that defensive line, and in the middle of that defensive line, Real Madrid is outnumbered, and they leave so much space for Rafinha and Lewandowski to run towards two. And they were again asking for that long ball, but Pedri did not do that. Again, Pedri wanted to play it safe, or maybe he did not realize that a pass was there. And so this was yet again another midfielder in Barcelona's squad that failed to embrace these type of opportunities. Like, when you play El Clasico, and when you especially play, right, against a very on form Real Madrid, you have to play with balls. balls. You have to be making those long passes and just take those chances, because those long balls that you could be making, whether it's coming from Pedri or Frankie, those could turn into a 1v1 against the goalkeeper. Whether that's Rafinha versus the goalkeeper, Lewandowski against the goalkeeper. This is another thing that we did have in that 4-0 win a few months ago, is the fact that we were able to make those long passes that killed Real Madrid. Like, do you guys not remember that long pass that was made towards Ferran Torres, and then Ferran Torres receives it, he holds it and gives it towards Aubameyang? We could have easily done the exact same thing. But no, this was not shown in the 3-1 loss last night. So we have to get better when it comes to this aspect of the game, is to realize that if the opportunity is there, take advantage of it, become very direct. And so that is it, right? Like, that is probably one of the things that really did frustrate me the most about this game, is the fact that both teams had solutions towards breaking down that defense, but one team acted on it. One team executed after they realized one of the weaknesses, and that was Real Madrid. They executed. So moving forward, Barcelona is going to have to work on this. Maybe we can see these players improve on this against Villarreal on Thursday. I would love to see a front three of Ansu, Lewandowski, and Dembele with a midfield of Frankie, Gavi, and Pedri. I think that Frankie is starting to play better as a 6 within this Barcelona squad, but we'll see. And then when it comes to the defensive line, I would like to see Kounde, Sergio Roberto, Eric Garcia, and also Alejandro Balde. So that is going to be wrapping up today's Barcelona daily news. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys in the next video.